I'm on the drive. I got an hour and a half car ride ahead of me. I'm going to San Antonio to do some comedy. And I wanted to get on here and talk about immigration with some. Hang on. They almost went into their car. All right, so I understand both sides of the ICE thing here. First of all, I want to say I think a country is defined by its borders, and borders need to be enforced, or they're not borders. The definition of a border is a line that separates two things. If they're not separated, it's not a border. But also, I think ripping families apart and deporting people that have been here their whole lives that are law-abiding citizens, I think that's pretty messed up. But then the argument is, well, only arrest the criminals. And it's like, well, that's hard to do. It's a lot easier to just generalize a group of people, because then you get into who's a criminal and who's not, and the line is really thin, because the only difference between a person and a criminal is one crime. And, I mean, crimes, we do those all the time. You run one red light, you're a criminal. I did that 3 times since I started this podcast. Also, how can you protest ICE when it's so hot outside? You know what I mean? We're having fun here, folks. Come on. That's what it's all about. Everyone wants to come here so they can have fun. And at the end of the day, they want to dance. That's why that one country's always talking about dancing. We will dance again. Let us dance. And then the attack thing happens at a dance. That's like the pinnacle. When you have so little worries that you're just like, let's see what my body can do. I don't know. I'm not there yet, though. But most importantly, what I think doesn't matter, because I'm nobody. I'm not involved with what's happening. I have no control. I have no power. And if I did, you guys would have a lot worse stuff to worry about than immigration. I'd bring back velociraptors, for sure. You'd have velociraptors running around. You'd have to worry about the dinosaur problem. Dictatorship. It would be a dictatorship if I was in charge. No one is allowed to criticize me? Yeah, sure, you have to. Everyone has to agree with me? That sounds amazing. Everyone get the same haircut as me? That'd be crazy. Or maybe I'd be the only one allowed to have it. How does Kim Jong-un do it? It's like you're not allowed to have his haircut, or you have to have his haircut. Or is this Kim Jong-il? Anyways. Everyone's speaking out and voicing their opinion. It just, none of it matters. Whether you agree with it, whether you disagree with it, okay, now what? Now a bunch of people agree on something. The system is still orchestrating every move. The system is still in control. You can tell by what's going on that a certain group has a majority control, and they keep winning. Because they're organized and they're secretive, which is how any good business operates, really. But a good business doesn't operate on blackmail. But it's not so simple just to be like, well, leave the law-abiding ones and then only take the criminals, because then, well, they're law-abiding until they're not, and then, and it was a crime to enter illegally, and I'm not saying that's like a huge crime. I don't think you should be punished for trying to sneak into a country. I mean, you get arrested for trying to sneak into a music festival. Not me, though. I'm too fast. But I think that their superpower is, according to my Instagram. So we know I'm talking about a specific country. I'm not going to get into it because I keep getting kicked off YouTube. But this one country continues to win despite their physicality and valiance, and on account of more sneakery, trickery, and high technology. So, and they're such a small portion of the population, but they keep winning. The whole world is watching. And I think their secret superpower is something not a lot of people expect. When I'm scrolling on Instagram, every now and then, chicks pop up. And some of them have massive knockers. And occasionally I'll take a closer look. And very often they are Israeli. Fuck, I said it. I'm not saying anything, but I almost just ran into a truck here, though. Distracted. But it's all right. My car's driving itself. This thing's stuck to a thing. My attention is not mostly on this. I hope I don't die. But I think this country continues to win because their women have such massive knockers. It acts as a source of power that, or maybe it's just like really good motivation. They're like, we gotta finish this genocide so we can get back to those sloppy milkies. Because then, you look at the other side, their chicks are, they're malnourished, so they're emaciated, just flat, pancakes. Then you go over a couple miles and they're in bloom, they're in season, ready for the farmer's market. Just two big old chesticles hanging off like a titty tree. And I think that's the approach Mexicans need to take. Because they got the ass covered. But, you can argue tits or ass all day, but I think we can agree both is great. So if Mexican women start stacking up tits, then they will win the war. Which is exactly why Colombia is winning. Now that's Colombia's fault right now. I don't know. I was trying to go somewhere with that, but I don't think that logic goes anywhere. I'll think about it. I'll figure it out. Don't you fucking worry. But yeah, I love Mexicans. They're probably my favorite race. Honestly, they're just cool about stuff, and they're hard workers, and they might stab you, but I got jumped by Mexicans once. I got jumped by they were black. But I kind of was asking for it that night. It was Halloween. I was like 19 years old. Degenerate alcoholic. I was dressed like a Border Patrol agent, and I was going around asking Mexicans for their passport, and which is not cool. I don't know why I did that. It's not funny, but that did happen. And then they'd be like, "Fuck you, dude!" And then the cops were walking by, and I'm like, "I'm doing my job." And then all of a sudden they looked over me, and they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh fuck!" I just got the approval from the boys in blue. Not the boys. There's a difference between the boys and the boys in blue. The boys are the boys, but the boys in blue will kill you. And that is going to be engraved into my tombstone because that's how I'm going out. Because I'm going to become a cop, and then this is we're hitting some traffic now. Which to get back to the whole deportation thing, man. Deportations would reduce traffic. There's too many people. I think people should stop having kids. Also, that seems to be a leftist talking point, and that may be so. Maybe call me a liberal. See if I fucking care. I don't. It, half the people, everyone has their own perspective. People try to generalize like, oh, they're not all criminals and they're not all. That applies to everything. They're not all Democrats are not all gay and conservatives aren't all racist, but like, also yeah, but still, everyone has their own individual. I like this song. The hell was I talking about? Yeah, deportations are the backbone of this great nation. No, I mean illegal immigrants are, because that's why you notice like Walmart is funding a lot of these protests, and I've heard that she wasn't associated with Walmart, but I guarantee you there's large corporations funding the protests and want illegal immigration to increase because capitalism at its foundation is on exploiting low wage to no wage workers, which is why slavery was like the backbone of society for millennia. And then more and more people realize they could easily be the next to be in poverty, so we start enforcing things like minimum wage and human rights and stuff. And you can't afford to live anywhere on minimum wage. How is that better than slavery? Slavery was when you had a job, but you were given living quarters, and you had to be fed, and you had to be fed well. You can't just work starving for your whole life, or you'll die. Like you'll die. It wouldn't be like you want healthy slaves. I'm just trying to put myself in from their perspective. Like basically, what I'm saying is, I bet there were slaves that had better lives than minimum wage 9 to 5ers. Because black people are strong and they're fast and they're athletic, and like you have to make living conditions pretty reasonable for them to not escape. Like there had to be an incentive for some of them. I mean, there was a lot of like, probably most of it was really bad. But I'm just saying, just like you want to say, well, not all of them control the media. I'm saying not all of them were just suffering their whole time. You know, that applies. That applies across the board. There's no 100% of anything because everything's constantly changing too. So even if there was, as soon as you write it up and print the article, it could be something else. And I'm not worried if I'm making sense or not, because if you don't understand what I'm saying, you're the problem. You're the idiot. I don't remember, fucking what else, dude. I had a bunch more shit on this. Stop having kids. You're feeding pedophilia. That kids are their favorite thing. Why would you make more of that? Then there would be less traffic, less lines to wait in. and just less problems. Every problem, no matter what side of any issue you're on, I think we can all agree the problem is shitty people. Every problem in the world is because of certain people that suck. If you stop making people, you eliminate that problem. You eliminate more shitty people from ever being a part of anything. The problem is raw dogging's really fun, and that's the whole network of how the system works. The whole circuit is just Milky Milks, fight a war, innocent people die, enslave humanity, create a currency that oppresses its users. Milky Milks. The cycle restarts. Alright, dude. That's enough.